Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. It's the Wednesday workshop. How many of you guys out there are feeling a little stuck these days? This is why we do the Wednesday workshop in the middle of the week, because it's easy to get stuck in the middle of the week. So today I'm going to give you 3 gems because we've been talking about how to move the needle in your practice for the last 3 weeks. And we said that there are 15 different steps. I don't know if you guys remember this from the previous Wednesday workshops, but there are 15 different steps that if you did or understood these 15 things, your practice would change dramatically and the weight of the world would come off your shoulders and you would be unstuck. So today we're going to talk about 3 of them, 3 gems. We're going to finish up with the last 3 this week. And the first one that we're going to talk about today is this, is if what you sell is confusing, then nobody will buy it. If what you sell is confusing, then nobody will buy it. So there are 6 human needs. How many human needs? Can you guys say it? Put it in the chat, put it in the comments. 6. There are 6. And the very first human need is the need for certainty. And on the day 1 and the day 2, the number 1 human need that you want to meet is absolutely hands down the need for the patient to feel certain in their body. They need to feel certain or confident when they walk out of your office on day 1. And they certainly need to feel confident in you, in your program, in what you're selling on the day 2, your conversion day, okay? So when you create a care plan for a patient, make sure that that care plan is neatly organized for them, that you're creating a care plan that they can understand, that they understand the why behind why you're making a certain recommendation that you are. And make sure that there are no variables in your care plan or in the communication of your care plan. In other words, you don't want any variables such as if this, then what, right? You want it all clearly laid out for the patient. So, for example, in your care plan, if you're, and I'm going to make this up just as an example, so nobody, shoot me for the care plan, right? This is just a made up care plan. But if your care plan is 3 days weekly for 12 weeks, you have to provide certainty of what they should expect at the end of their 12 weeks. Not only what they should expect, you should also be providing clarity and certainty on what the next step or the next level is going to be. So you want to avoid saying, okay, we're going to do 3 times a week for 12 weeks, or we're going to do 3 times a week for 4 weeks, and we'll take some tests in 4 weeks and we'll see where you're at, and then we'll determine where to go from there. That you want to avoid that. Instead, you want to have clear, concise expectation based on the data and the science that you have in your technique. So for example, when you're going over the care plan, you want it to be so that a 5th grader can literally understand it. So what does that look like? Well, Mrs. Jones, you're going to be coming 3 days weekly for the next 12 weeks. Based on the data and the research that we have available, the majority of the world's population will get a 50 to 60% correction in only 12 weeks. At that point, you will be ready to go into your next phase of correction. That's twice weekly for 12 weeks. At that point, the majority of the world's population will hit a 90 to 100% correction based on the data that we have. All right, so that was very clear. That was very concise. And when I speak with certainty in my voice. And I'm looking at them with my right eye to right eye. So I'm staying engaged with them. I'm listening to them. I'm reading their body language. And I'm talking slow enough where They can understand what I'm saying. Anything that you want to accentuate or you want them to get, you want to have a pause. So anything that they need to process along the way, you want to pause. While you're pausing, you're looking at their expression, you're looking at their body language, you're literally reading their face, and you're waiting for them to process the information in their mind. You've all had this experience. You know what I'm talking about. You know, when you look at somebody and you can see their wheels are turning. If you're going through your care plan and you see the patient's wheels are turning, just pause, let them have that moment to process the information. And then it's like all of a sudden they kind of come back to you. You guys know what I'm talking about? You see that change in their facial expression that lets you know that they're back with you and they're ready to move forward, right? Really, really important. Okay, so the second thing that I want to talk to you guys about today, the second step that we're going to talk about today that I think is very, very important, and that is the less that you care about making the sale, the more sales you will make. What does that mean? Well, what that means is this, is when you go into the day one or when you go into the day two with the intention and the expectation and the pressure of, oh my gosh, I hope they sign. Uh, are they going to move forward? Am I going to sell them? Am I going to close them? Are they going to convert? Right? When you go into that experience with that feeling of uncertainty in yourself, where you're so worried or nervous or concerned about closing them, then the patient feels that from you. And what happens? Immediately, the subconscious red flag sticks up in their mind and they say, oh, I don't know if this is the right time, right? It's like one of those situations where you can feel they're on board, they're on board, they're on board, they're moving with you. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what, doc? This is really great information. Thank you so much for your time. But I just feel like this is not the right time for me, right? What they're saying is that you just lost on a subconscious level, you just lost trust. Why? Because they feel the feeling of you trying to close them instead of feeling the feeling of you trying to just help them. Does that make sense to you guys? If that makes sense, please leave a comment below. Let me know that makes sense to you. All right. It's so funny because Dr. Laura and we experience this like all the time. There are times where she'll be like, she'll be going in, she'll have a day two that day, and she'll be like, I don't know about this patient. I don't know if they got it on the day one. I know I was off yesterday. I wasn't feeling that great yesterday. I really wasn't that focused. I don't know how this patient's gonna do. She's like, I don't even care. She's like, I don't even care. I'm just gonna go in and I don't even know if this patient's going to make a good patient anyway. I'm just going to go in and just go over their results and then we'll send them on their way. And that's her intention is she gets to a place where she's just like, she wants to throw her hands up. She's like, I don't even care. Guess what? 100% of the time when she throws her hands up and she's like, I don't even care, or 100% of the time those patients move forward with care, right? And why? Why? Because she gets past that threshold of worrying about if they're going to sign or not. And then she just makes a genuine presentation to the patient about what's causing their condition and how she's going to help them and what it's going to cost. And it becomes that easy. It becomes that simple. So when you can make it, when you make the day two, the conversion day, that simple, man, that's where you're going to have a 90 to 100% conversion on that day. And then the last thing I want to talk to you about is it's okay to let a patient go. It's okay to let a patient go if they don't align with your values or they don't align with the way that you do things in the office. Look, you guys, I have a high volume practice. I've seen high volume for over 20, I don't even know, 23 or 24 years now. We have more new patients, quite honestly, than we can handle in our practice. And I refer patients to other chiropractors in our town all the time, all the time. And there's different reasons why I would do that. sometimes in our office, first of all, in our office, we practice chiropractic biophysics. Love chiropractic biophysics. We only start a patient that qualifies to be taken care of with that analysis, with that technique, right? And so sometimes we have situations, we live in a beach town, right? So sometimes we have situations where we have patients that have a regular chiropractor in their area in North Jersey, and they come down for a week or 2 weeks, and they want to get checked or they want to get adjusted. And but they're only going to be with us for like, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 visits. Well, with the type of work that we do in our office and the type of analysis that we do, it's it's really not appropriate for somebody who's just coming down the shore for a week for just a couple of adjustments. So we refer them to a friend of mine who's a great friend. He's an amazing chiropractor. He's an awesome adjuster. He just does things differently in his office than how we do them in our office. And his office is just a better fit for a person that needs that type of chiropractic, right? Because they're not going to be here long term for us to do CBP work on them. So if our specialty is CBP, we're not even going to see patients that are not CBP candidates. Why? Because that's not our specialty, right? But that doesn't mean that that person doesn't need great quality chiropractic care. So we just refer them to somebody or a practice that is in better alignment with what they need or what they want, right? Does that make sense? Have you ever had a patient, I'm going to be just really transparent with you guys, right? But let's just be totally honest with one another and be in agreement that we've all had people come into our practice that we just don't vibe with, right? Will you guys agree with me? Like if you think I'm a bad person, you can comment in there, but don't do that. I'm not a bad person. I really do. I like a lot of people. I love everybody. I innately do truly love everybody. That I can absolutely say. But there are some people that I can love and I don't necessarily like. Have you ever had a patient that you don't like? You just don't resonate with them. The chemistry is not right. That's okay. You can refer them to a chiropractor that they do resonate with. All right? Don't be afraid to refer to other chiros. And hopefully, it's funny because I refer to other chiros all the time. It's really funny because I never get referrals from other chiropractors. And I just think that that's so funny, but I think it's because as chiropractors, we typically tend to think like if they came to our office, they're our patient. Well, they're there to be serviced and they're there for value and they're there for you to solve a problem. And if there's something about your office that can't solve their problem, that's not a problem. Just send them to somebody who could. And people are going to love and appreciate you for doing the right thing and to get it and for helping them get into the place where they can actually solve their problem and they can actually feel really good about it. So, there are your 3 things this week to get you past hump day, get you over the hump, and get the needle moving in the right direction. And I will see you next week for Wednesday workshop. And we got a whole new um, topic that we're going to be talking about next week. So if you've been stuck, if you're dragging your feet about opening a practice, you guys have reached out to me. You guys know who you are. If you've been dragging your feet, if you have had some fear that has been holding you back from from doing what God created you to do, you can do this. If you have been in practice for 3 years or less and you feel like you're just not where you want to be, you can do this. You've got this. Reach out to me. I will help you get started and let's just do it. Sometimes you just have to take a giant step of faith and just do it. And I promise you that you will be provided for and it will be okay and you're going to be great and you're going to serve more people and you're going to touch more lives than you ever thought was possible. So I love and appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic week. Have a great holiday weekend coming up. We have Memorial Day weekend coming up. So have a great weekend coming up. And I will see you guys next week.